Have you ever turned off the lights, laid your head on the pillow, and suddenly your mind begins the show? Right when everything is quiet, the same old lines appear. What if tomorrow goes wrong? What if I'm not enough? What if everything falls apart? Your body is exhausted, but your mind refuses to rest. And in that state, sleeping without anxiety feels impossible. Sleeping without stress feels out of reach. My friend, it's not that you don't know how to sleep. It's that you're caught in an inner dialogue that doesn't switch off at night. Obsessive thinking doesn't just drain your energy during the day. It follows you into bed and turns your rest into a silent battlefield. And if nothing changes, it will be there again tomorrow and the night after, and the one after that. But listen carefully. The Stoic truths we're exploring tonight can free your mind exactly when you need it most. Not so you can fight harder, but so you can let go better. So your mind stops attacking you and starts protecting your peace. Tonight isn't about controlling every thought. It's about learning to let them pass. And once you truly understand that, sleeping without anxiety or stress will stop being a wish and start becoming your new reality. If this space helps you calm your mind before bed, subscribe and join us each night as we walk this path toward deeper, anxiety-free rest. And let me ask you something personal. When you lie down at night, what steals your sleep the most? Work stress? An unresolved conversation? Fear of tomorrow? Write it in the comments. Sometimes naming it is the first step toward finally sleeping in peace. First lesson. Understand where your nighttime thoughts come from. My friend, let's be clear from the beginning. Those thoughts that show up the moment you turn off the lights are not born in the darkness of your room. They were created long before that. They are echoes of unresolved fears, insecurities you carried throughout the day, conversations you never finished, decisions that still weigh on you. When everything finally becomes quiet, that echo starts bouncing inside your mind. And that's why sleeping without anxiety, without stress, feels so difficult. Psychology explains it simply. Obsessive thinking is a clumsy attempt by your brain to protect you. It wants to anticipate danger, solve everything before it happens. The problem is that it tries to do this at 11 at night, when the only thing you truly need is rest. It's as if your mind believes that by replaying everything again and again, it can guarantee that tomorrow will go perfectly. But the more you analyze, the more your alert system activates. Your body stays on guard, and sleep drifts further away. Here is the key that can bring you back to calm before bed. It's not about solving the thought, but about changing your relationship to it. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Remove your judgment, and the complaint is removed." It is not the thought itself that keeps you awake. It is the dramatic interpretation you attach to it. Epictetus put it clearly. It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. When you truly grasp this, something inside you begins to loosen. So tonight, when your mind starts spinning like a wheel with no brakes, do something different. Pause. Don't fight it. Don't try to win the argument. Breathe slowly and observe the thought as if you were watching a cloud pass across the sky. Ask yourself calmly, is this a fact or is it a story I'm creating? That small space between the thought and your reaction already begins to quiet the internal alarm. Listen carefully. Your nighttime thoughts are not greater than you. They are not in charge. When you stop feeding them, they lose strength. And in that moment, your body receives a clear signal. You are safe. And when the body feels safe, calm arrives. And with calm, sleep follows. Lesson 2. Stay away from those who hold you back. Imagine you are a rocket about to launch. You have all the potential to reach unimaginable heights. But there's a problem. Something is holding you down. It's not technical failures or lack of fuel. It's the ropes tying you to the ground. Now think about your life. Those ropes are the people around you. Some push you forward, motivate you, lift you up. But others keep you stuck. Every negative comment, every disguised insult, every so-called joke that belittles your efforts is another rope holding you back. And if you don't cut them, you will never take off. Marcus Aurelius understood this well. Avoid those who pollute your soul. For him, The environment was crucial. He knew the people around you can either elevate you or destroy you, and he experienced it firsthand. As Emperor of Rome, he was surrounded by flatterers, schemers, and opportunists. He knew many were only close to him out of self-interest, telling him what he wanted to hear instead of the truth. But instead of surrounding himself with false allies, he chose to be around philosophers, strategists, and people who challenged his thinking. And tell me, how many times has this happened to you? You start improving and suddenly, your environment starts making you feel bad about it. You try to adopt a healthier lifestyle and they say, "Don't overdo it, enjoy life." You start working toward your goals and they say, "You've become boring, you never go out anymore." You decide to focus on personal growth and they say, "Why try so hard?" Nothing really changes in the end. It's no coincidence. People who feel uncomfortable with your growth will try to pull you back down to their level. And here's where neuroscience comes in. Dr. Tara Swart explains that the environment we choose doesn't just influence our lives, it defines us. According to her, if you want to understand who you are at this moment, you should analyze the 5 people you spend the most time with. So, what do you think? Shall we try it? Think of the 5 people you spend the most time with. They could be friends, family, co-workers, or your partner. The ones you talk to the most, the ones who fill your days. Now, next to each name, write 3 words that describe them. Don't rush. Be honest. Is that person disciplined or a procrastinator? Are they positive or do they complain about everything? Are they ambitious or do they settle for the bare minimum? Do they push you to improve or always find a reason for you not to? Now consider this. If one of these people is constantly complaining about work, life, or lack of opportunities, how much of that mindset have you absorbed without realizing it? If another person is someone who never finishes what they start, who talks a lot but does little, how much has that influenced you to justify your own lack of action? Now go back and read those adjectives again. And here's something you might not like to hear. This list is showing you a part of yourself. Because, my friend, we don't just choose our environment shapes us. If you want to stop being weak, surround yourself with people who make you stronger, people who celebrate your growth instead of holding you back. Because success isn't just about what you do. It's also about who you do it with. Lesson 3. If it doesn't serve you, change it. What do you do when a pen runs out of ink? Do you keep pressing it against the paper, scratching away with nothing to show for it, growing more frustrated with each attempt? Of course not. You grab another pen and keep writing. So tell me, why do you hold on to thoughts that take you nowhere? The ones that drag you down and make you feel like you can't move forward. If a pen stops writing, you replace it. Why not do the same with what's in your mind? Replaying harmful thoughts in your head is like wearing shoes that are too small. Every step you take hurts a little more, leaves marks, and slows you down. But what do you do when shoes start to hurt? You take them off and find a pair that fits. It's the same with your thoughts. If they hold you back or limit you, it's time to change them. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your perception of it." If you believe you can't change, my friend, you're wrong. The problem is you've told yourself that story so many times, you've started to believe it. But here's an interesting fact. Changing that internal dialogue is not only possible, it can transform your life. Switching "I can't" to "I'm learning" might seem small, but it's the difference between giving up and moving forward. And this isn't just about empty motivational quotes or feel-good mantras. Neuroscience backs this up too. According to a study by Dr. Andrew Huberman, our brains form new connections every time we choose a different thought from our usual pattern. Picture it like walking through a muddy path. The first step is hard, but over time you carve out a new trail that leads to a better destination. Changing what doesn't serve you is about creating that new path for your mind. Think of it this way. Use your thoughts like you use your tools. If you're trying to hammer a nail with a screwdriver, it doesn't matter how hard you try, it won't work. But grab the right hammer, and the job's done in seconds. The same goes for your mind. If a thought isn't working for you, stop using it. Replace it with something that does. Swap out that old, rusty tool for one that's shiny, sharp, and productive. Are you ready to change what doesn't serve you? Share in the comments which thought you're going to replace today. Dare to write it down. It'll help you stay committed to yourself. I'll be watching and ready to respond to support you. We're here to help each other grow. And remember, every small change in your mind can create a massive difference in your life. The time to start is now. Lesson 4. Ask for help when you need it. We live in a world where asking for help is often seen as a sign of weakness, but in reality, it's the opposite. My friend, you don't have to be a superhero. Asking for help takes courage because it means admitting that we can't always do it all, and that's okay. Even the strongest among us need a hand to lift them up sometimes. The Stoics understood this perfectly. Seneca said, "We need others to be strong." For them, community and relationships were fundamental pillars for growth and progress. It wasn't about carrying the weight of life alone, but about sharing it with those who could help lighten the load. After all, what's the point of being strong if you can't lean on others when you need it most? Picture this. You're in the middle of moving, trying to push a massive sofa all by yourself. You push, pull, try every angle, using every ounce of strength, but it doesn't budge. It's just too heavy. Then someone comes along and says, "Let me help you." Would you turn them down? Of course not. You'd gladly accept their help. And with just a little support, the sofa moves. It's that simple. Asking for help isn't giving up your strength. It's multiplying it. And it's not just a moral idea. Modern psychology backs this up. A study from Columbia University found that people who seek social support during stressful times are more resilient and less likely to develop anxiety or depression. Even just talking to someone you trust can significantly lighten your emotional load and quiet obsessive thoughts. It's like opening a window in a stuffy room. Suddenly, everything feels lighter and fresher. Now, I know that opening up to others can be challenging, especially if you're not used to it. Don't worry. Let's talk about how to start bringing this into your life. First, identify the people you truly trust. They could be friends, family, or even co-workers. You don't have to share everything all at once. Start small with something like, "Can I talk to you about something?" Or, "I need your opinion on this." The key is taking that first step. After that, the next one will feel much easier. Learn to accept the help that's offered to you. Pride often makes us turn it down. But let's be honest, what's more important, keeping up appearances or lightening your burden? Asking for help doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. And when you do it, you not only find support, but also discover the connection and strength that come from sharing your struggles. So the next time you feel stuck, remember, you don't have to be a superhero. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is reach out and say, "I need help." Are you ready to take that step? Lesson 5. You don't want to be strong, you already are. My friend, do you want to be stronger, braver, more disciplined? Do you wish you could wake up every day knowing you can face anything? Let's be clear. You don't need to become strong. You don't need to arrive at discipline, resilience, or courage. You already have it, you just don't see it yet. Think of Rikako Iki. She was one of Japan's most promising swimmers. Her future was set, her talent undeniable. But one day, her world collapsed. Leukemia, the body that once propelled her through the water with astonishing speed, became weak. Chemotherapy, isolation, months without training. Everything that defined her as an athlete seemed to fade away. She could have accepted defeat. She could have told herself, "I'm not a swimmer anymore, my career is over." But she didn't. Instead of embracing the identity of someone sick, she saw herself for what she had always been, a competitor. And when her body was ready, she got back in the water. She trained again. She competed again. She proved that her identity was never that of someone defeated. It was that of a fighter. Listen closely, because this affects you directly. Your identity shapes your actions. If you tell yourself, "I'm just not a morning person, I'm too lazy," your brain will accept that as truth. It won't matter how many times you try to wake up early or be more consistent. Your mind will sabotage you because it has already decided you are a lazy person. And so you'll hit snooze again. Imagine this: you're at the office. Your boss calls you into their office and offers you a promotion. They explain that they believe in you, that you've proven your capabilities, that it's time to take the next step. And that's when everything in your head starts to fall apart. I'm not ready. There are people better than me. I'm going to fail. You walk out of the meeting with a forced smile. You say you'll think about it, that you'll take a couple of days to decide. But the moment you step through the door, the thoughts flood in. Why did they offer it to me? Someone else would do a better job. I'll embarrass myself if I take it and can't handle it. It's better to stay where I am. It's not so bad. It's safer. You spend the whole day overthinking. You go home, but your mind is still trapped. The offer lingers, but the voice in your head keeps whispering that you're not enough. You eat dinner with that doubt. You go to bed with that doubt. And the next morning, the fear is still there, sitting on your chest. Until suddenly, something shifts. You look in the mirror, exhausted from overthinking, and in the reflection, right behind you, you see him. Epictetus. He's not smiling. He's not looking at you with sympathy. He just says one sentence, clear and firm. Don't explain your philosophy, live it. And then he crosses his arms and stares at you like you just said the dumbest thing in the world. You want to know if you're capable? Then do it. Stop making excuses. Act. You try to respond, but I don't know if I'm ready. Epictetus shakes his head. Since when do Stoics talk about what they want to be? We just are. You imagine telling him, but I'm afraid of failing. So what? Don't we learn more from failure than from comfort? You want to throw in one last but his gaze cuts through you. Listen, kid. Either you accept the challenge, or you keep living as a slave to your own mind. And just like that, he vanishes. You're left in silence. You look at your reflection again. You're still you. But something has changed. Because the truth is this: you already are strong. You just need to start acting like it. So are you ready to kill that weak version of yourself? First, change your language. Don't say, I don't know if I'm ready for the promotion. Say, I am the person who can do this. Don't say, I'll try. Say, I will prove it. Your brain needs clear instructions. And if you command it like a strong person, it will start acting like one. Second, act as if you already were that leader. Don't wait to feel ready. Ask yourself, if I already had the promotion, how would I behave today? Then do it. Without overthinking. Without hesitation, as if the position were already yours. Third, stop asking for permission. Don't wait to feel ready. You don't need to become someone else. You just need to prove what's already inside you. My friend, your mind has been playing against you for too long, but that ends today. Reprogram your identity, and you will unleash your full potential. Sixth lesson. Let yourself be helped. You're not a superhero. Why do you insist on carrying everything on your own? It's like trying to move a giant sofa up a staircase by yourself. You know you can't do it, but you keep pushing, sweating, and exhausting yourself. And when you can't make it, guess who shows up? That familiar voice of negativity. I should have been able to do it. I'm such a failure. Sound familiar? Let me tell you something. You're not designed to do it all alone. No one is. When you convince yourself that asking for help is a sign of weakness, you let pride and fear fill you with negativity. But here's the truth. Admitting you need help isn't a sign of failure. It's an act of courage. The Stoics understood this well. Seneca said, "There is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility lies in being superior to your former self." Accepting help is one of the wisest ways to push past your limits and grow. Think of a castle. It might have tall, strong walls, but if there's no drawbridge to let others in, it becomes a prison. Your mind works the same way. If you shut others out, you're isolating yourself from solutions, fresh perspectives, and the support that could lighten your load. Science backs this up. Dr. John Cacioppo, a leading expert in social neuroscience, found that isolation and a lack of emotional support increase cortisol levels, the stress hormone, and harm mental health. On the other hand, asking for help significantly reduces stress and fosters a sense of connection that strengthens resilience. Asking for help isn't just useful, it's essential for your well-being. Now picture this. You're on a boat in the middle of a storm. The waves are high, the wind is fierce, and you're alone at the helm. You're struggling to stay on course, but it's getting harder with each passing moment. What do? Keep fighting until the boat capsizes, or let someone else take the helm for a moment so you can catch your breath. Life works the same way. Asking for help during the storm doesn't mean you stop being the captain of your ship. It means allowing others to help keep it afloat. The next time you feel like you're at your limit, think about what you truly need. Sometimes help comes as advice, a helping hand, or even just someone to listen. But for that to happen, you have to be willing to open the door and accept that you can't do it all. It's not weakness, it's being human. Remember this, letting yourself be helped doesn't make you less strong, it makes you wiser. Because no matter how strong you are, even superheroes have a team behind them. Or do you think Batman would be the same without Robin? Lesson 7. Happiness is not the destination, it's the journey. How many times have you told yourself you'll be happy once you achieve something? Once you solve that problem, or reach that goal you've been obsessing over? But here's the truth. If you keep waiting for that perfect moment, life will pass you by while you're stuck in limbo. Happiness isn't waiting for you at the end of the road. It's in every step you choose to enjoy today. Imagine you're cooking a recipe you love. You're so focused on how it will turn out, whether everyone will like it, or if it's cooked to perfection that you miss the joy of the process. Once again, that mental storm of obsessive thoughts pulls you out of the moment. You don't notice the aroma of fresh ingredients, the music playing in the background, or the simple pleasure of creating something with your own hands. And when it's finally time to taste it, all that stress and perfectionism rob you of the satisfaction. Instead of enjoying it, you're preoccupied with whether it's perfect or worrying about someone's potential criticism. How often do you let this happen in your daily life, letting the destination overshadow the journey? Seneca, in his wisdom, said, "Life is like a play. It's not the length but how well it's performed that matters." This doesn't mean you should ignore your goals, but it does mean you should learn to find value and joy in the present. Because, my friend, if you can't be happy with what you have now, no matter how much you achieve, you'll always feel like something's missing. Let me share something I learned the hard way. There was a time when I was obsessed with achieving certain goals. I kept telling myself, once I finish this project, or once I reach this milestone, then I'll be able to relax and enjoy life. But what I didn't realize was that, in obsessing over the future, I was missing out on the small joys of everyday life. An unexpected conversation, the pleasure of a quiet cup of coffee, even a moment of silence. One day, after feeling mentally drained, I stopped and looked around. I realized I was surrounded by beautiful things, but I hadn't noticed them because my mind was stuck in a someday that never seemed to arrive. So how can you stop obsessing over the destination and start enjoying the journey? First, focus on the present moment. Try this simple exercise. Whenever you find yourself lost in thoughts about the future, stop and identify 3 things you're grateful for right now. Second, accept that life doesn't have to be perfect to be wonderful. Happiness isn't found in what's missing. It's in how you choose to see what you already have. Third, take small, intentional actions every day. You don't have to solve everything at once. Every little step counts. Happiness isn't a prize waiting for you in the future. It's something you choose to create in every moment. So tell me, what can you do today to find it? Because in the end, it's not about how long the journey lasts. It's about how you choose to walk it. And that, my friend, is entirely in your hands. Lesson 8. Leave no room for weakness. Have you ever tried lighting a campfire with a single match? The flame ignites quickly, seems strong, but in seconds, it dies out. That's motivation. Discipline, on the other hand, is like a steady fire that keeps burning even when the wind howls. If you rely on the match, you'll be left in the dark. But if you build a solid fire, no matter what happens, the flame will stay alive. Want proof? Let's look at Kobe Bryant. He woke up at 4 in the morning to train. Do you think it was because he wanted to get up? Because he was always super motivated? That he didn't enjoy the warmth of his bed in the morning? No, it wasn't any of that. He didn't rely on feelings, motivation, or whether it was cold or hot outside. While most of his teammates were still sleeping, he had already spent hours on the court, perfecting his craft. He didn't wait to feel like it. He didn't ask himself if he was in the mood to train. He did it because it had to be done. And that was his secret. He left no room for weakness. Many people think he was lucky or just naturally gifted, but luck doesn't exist. As Seneca said, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. What you didn't see was the silent work, the early mornings, the sacrifices. Now, put yourself in this situation. You've been saying for months, maybe even years, that you want to start a business. You keep repeating it in your head, even telling your friends about it. But every day, you're still in the same place. One day, you get home from work and think about finally sitting down to do it. But you're tired. You tell yourself, after such a long day, I deserve to rest. So you sink into the couch, put on a show, and think, tomorrow for sure, no excuses. But when tomorrow comes, the problem isn't exhaustion, it's insecurity. I don't know enough yet. Maybe I should keep researching. So you spend hours watching business videos, reading advice, looking for inspiration, but doing absolutely nothing. The weekend arrives, and you think about dedicating some time to it. But there's always something easier to do. A hangout with friends, an afternoon of rest, a new excuse that sounds reasonable. Because starting something takes effort, and deep down, you're still waiting for the perfect moment, as if one day you'll wake up feeling ready. But here's the truth. Every time you choose the easy way out, you hand over control to your weak version, the one that postpones, the one that doubts, the one that waits to feel ready. And just like that, another year goes by, and your business is still just an idea in your head because you keep leaving room for weakness. Now, how can you apply this in your life and kill your weak version? First, set a non-negotiable time commitment. If you want your business to take off, you must schedule a fixed time for it, like a real job. 1 hour a day, every day, no excuses. It doesn't matter if you're tired, if you had a bad day, or if you don't feel like it. You do it because it's part of the process. Second, set a non-negotiable focus commitment. If every time you sit down to work, you get distracted by social media, your phone, or any random nonsense, you'll never move forward. Put your phone in another room, use a focus technique like the Pomodoro method, block distractions. Your business won't build itself. Third, set a non-negotiable action commitment. No more perfectionism, no more waiting for the right time. Every day, you must take at least one concrete step toward your goal. It could be reaching out to a client, creating content, improving a product, anything tangible. If there's no action, there's no progress. This is what separates those who get results from those who don't. Discipline is not negotiable. It's not something you do when you feel like it. It's something you do because it's part of who you are. Ninth lesson, free yourself from fear. Let me ask you a straightforward question. How many opportunities have you missed because of fear? Fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of what others might think. Fear doesn't just hold you back, it ties you down, like being chained to an invisible post. But here's the truth no one tells you. Fear itself isn't the problem. The problem is how you feed it, how you let it grow until it becomes a giant that controls you. Isn't it time to break those chains? The Stoics had a very different relationship with fear. For them, it wasn't something to avoid, but something to understand and confront. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, The pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Think about that. It's not uncertainty, criticism, or even failure that paralyzes you. It's the story you tell yourself about what might happen. Picture fear as a shadow. The more you avoid it, the larger and scarier it seems. But when you turn around and face it, you realize it's just a projection, an illusion created by your mind. The Stoics practiced premeditatio malorum, a powerful tool I invite you to try. It involves imagining in detail the worst-case scenario. What if you fail? What if you lose? Then ask yourself, can I handle it? Can I learn from it? Spoiler alert, the answer is almost always yes. Let me share something interesting. A recent study by Susan Jeffers, author of Fear, the Friend of Exceptional People, shows that fear significantly decreases when we take action, even small steps. Simply moving toward what you fear reduces its grip. It's like crossing a bridge that looks shaky from afar but feels solid when you step on it. Action is the antidote to fear. So how can you break free from fear and take back control? Here are 3 practical steps. First, identify exactly what you're afraid of. Be specific, because fear thrives on vagueness. The more room you give your imagination, the stronger those negative thoughts become. Second, use premeditatio malorum. Picture the worst-case scenario and visualize how you deal with it. Do it with courage. Only then can you face the truth. Third, take action. Don't wait to feel brave. Courage comes after you take the first step. Let's be clear, fear won't disappear completely. But that doesn't mean it has to rule you. Each time you face it, it becomes smaller, more manageable. I'm not telling you to ignore fear. I'm telling you to use it as a compass. Wherever you feel fear, there's likely your greatest opportunity for growth. This isn't about staring down a hungry lion and standing still. I'm not asking you to be reckless. I'm simply asking for the courage to take command of your life. So what will you do today to break free from the chains of fear? The choice is yours. Before we move on, if you're finding value in this content, consider subscribing and becoming an exclusive member for unique perks. And tell us in the comments, will you dare to push past the barrier of fear? How will you do it? We'd love to hear from you and grow together with you. Lesson 10. Understand that the past is already gone. My friend, think about this. How many times have you gotten stuck replaying a mistake from the past, reliving it over and over? Suffering day after day over something that happened long ago and can't be changed. It's like trying to walk forward while dragging a rope tied to a massive rock. No matter how much you try to move, the rock holds you back, drains your energy, and keeps you from enjoying the journey. Do you see the problem? But let me tell you something. That rock is your past, and that rope isn't tied to the ground. It's you holding on to it. So why not let go of it once and for all? Be honest with yourself. Do you see how much pain you're causing yourself by constantly looking back? That guilt, that regret, they're only in your mind. No one else sees or feels them like you do. Forgive yourself for what you didn't know how to handle better at the time. Appreciate yourself for what you've learned, and start looking at the past as a lesson, not a punishment. Because, my friend, continuing to punish yourself won't change what happened, but it can ruin what's yet to come. Marcus Aurelius said it best. When you arise in the morning, think of the privilege of being alive, of breathing, of thinking, of enjoying, of loving. What happened yesterday can't be changed, but today is your chance to choose how you respond. Why waste it looking back when everything that matters is right in front of you? Modern psychology tells us that dwelling on the past directly impacts how you feel today. A study published in Clinical Psychology Review found that constantly reliving your mistakes increases anxiety and keeps you from feeling fulfilled. But here's the important part. The same study shows that when you focus on what you can do now instead of being trapped in what's already happened, your mind begins to calm down and you regain control of your life. See? It's exactly what the Stoics taught us centuries ago. It's not about erasing the past, but using it as a springboard, not a burden. So how do you let go of the past? How do you stop that obsessive thought that traps you? The next time a memory invades your mind, pause and confront it with a direct question. Is it really helping me to revisit something that happened so long ago? Don't stay stuck replaying it. Do something to break the cycle. Go for a walk, listen to a calming song, take a deep breath and tell yourself, I'm here, not back there. These small actions will anchor you to the present and help you hit the off button on obsessive thinking. Every small step you take toward the present weakens the power the past has over you. My friend, the past is already gone. Letting it go doesn't mean ignoring what happened. It means learning from it and leaving it where it belongs, behind you. So tell me, are you going to keep trying to move forward while tied to the heavy rock of what was, or will you free yourself to enjoy the road ahead? This is your moment to move forward. Don't let it slip away. Lesson 11. Don't let others infect you. Have you ever noticed how the emotions and thoughts of the people around you can influence your own? It's like sitting in front of the news and hearing an endless list of bad stories, crises, conflicts, disasters. Even if you were having a good day, that bombardment starts to cloud your mind. Why? Because negative emotions, much like the flu, are contagious. It's like being in a smoke-filled room. Even if you're not the one smoking, you still end up inhaling it. That's how negativity works. If you surround yourself with people who always see the worst in everything, it won't take long before you start thinking the same way. But here's the key. You don't have to stay in that room. You can step outside, or you can open a window and let in some fresh air. You don't have to absorb everything coming at you from the outside. You can choose what enters your mind and what doesn't. The Stoics figured this out centuries ago. Seneca said, "Surround yourself with people who can make you better and strive to improve those around you." This doesn't mean ignoring the world or becoming indifferent. It means recognizing that you have the power to avoid being dragged down by the negativity around you. When you do this, you save your energy and focus for the things that truly matter. Think of it this way. Watching the news and soaking up all that negativity is like opening a window during a storm. You can't stop the rain outside, but you can stop it from flooding your house. Similarly, you can protect yourself from the emotional impact of others or the media on your well-being. It's not about isolating yourself. It's about choosing which influences you allow into your life. Psychology backs this up. According to a study by Dr. Daniel Goleman, author of the groundbreaking Emotional Intelligence, negative emotions are highly contagious. But by developing emotional awareness, we can neutralize them. Taking a moment to reflect and understand what's genuinely yours and what's coming from others builds an emotional barrier that shields you from external chaos. So how can you avoid being infected by others, especially when they're constantly predicting the apocalypse? First, pay attention to what you consume. If the constant stream of news or social media makes you anxious, step away. Trust me, you'll find fresh air in a park, not on Twitter. Next, surround yourself with people who add value to your life, who inspire you, or who help you grow. Finally, invest time in strengthening your mind through practices like meditation, reading uplifting texts, or simply enjoying moments of silence. When you build a strong mind, the external noise loses its power. Killing negative thinking isn't just about internal work. It's also about protecting yourself from external influences. Choosing what you let into your life is an act of self-care and self-love. So the next time someone tries to pull you into their negativity, or the world tries to overwhelm you with noise, remember, you have the power to choose. Lesson 12. You can't control everything. Let me ask you this. Do you really believe you can control everything? I'm guessing your answer is no, so here's a second question. Why do you spend so much energy getting upset every time it unexpectedly rains? Why do you get angry when someone does something you don't like? If it's not under your control, then tell me. What's your excuse for letting yourself be dragged down like that? Think about that argument you can't undo, that message you're waiting for but hasn't arrived, or that missed opportunity you can't get back. Why do you let your mind circle back to the same things over and over? It's like trying to hold water in your hands. No matter how hard you try, it always slips away. And the worst part? While you focus on what you can't control, you lose precious time and energy that could be spent on things you can control. I remember a time when I spent days obsessing over a mistake I made in public. I kept thinking, what must people be saying about me? How can I fix this? The more I tried to forget it, the stronger the thought came back, like a song stuck in my head. But one day I stopped and asked myself the key question. What can I control right now? The answer was obvious. I couldn't change what had happened, but I could focus on doing better next time. In that moment, it felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Ah, what a relief. I finally got it. The obsessive thought lost its power because I chose to let go of what wasn't in my control. Epictetus taught, of the things that exist, some depend on us, and others do not. That distinction is the key to living in peace. Imagine your mind is like a garden. If you waste all your energy being upset every time it doesn't rain, instead of watering the garden yourself, what do you think will happen to the poor flowers? That's right, they'll wither. But if you choose to focus on what you can control and let go of everything else, the problem is solved. You'll water your plants regardless of the weather, and your garden will thrive. So how can you apply this in your daily life? Start by identifying thoughts that revolve around things you can't control. Maybe you're worried about what others think of you, or you're obsessing over a past event. Instead of fighting those thoughts, do something practical. Are you waiting for a reply that hasn't come? Use that time to read, learn something new, or exercise. Are you stressing over something that already happened? Ask yourself, what lesson can I take from this? It's that simple. You can't change it, but you can choose to turn it into something valuable. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing to free your mind. So tell me, what are you holding on to that no longer serves you? Today could be the day you decide to let it go, because when you let go, you make space to grow. Lesson 13. Silence frees the mind. Picture a calm lake. So serene, so inspiring. Silence surrounds it, the trees reflect on its surface, and sunlight dances across the water. It's a beautiful scene, isn't it? Now imagine a group of children starts throwing stones into the lake. The reflection of the trees vanishes. The sunlight's shimmer fades, and the noise of splashing stones disrupts the tranquility. Such a shame, right? The peace is gone in an instant. Well, my friend, that lake is your mind. Every obsessive thought is like a stone dropped into the water, creating ripples that disturb your calm. But here's the good news. You're the one holding the stones. If you stop throwing them, the water becomes clear again, reflecting everything with clarity. That's the power of cultivating silence. It's not about eliminating your thoughts. It's about learning to observe them without reacting. It's allowing the ripples to settle so your mind can regain its peace. Let me ask you something. Does the constant noise in your head exhaust you? That feeling of not being able to stop your own thoughts is draining. It's an inhuman punishment. But listen to me. It's not something you have to accept as inevitable. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius said, "Withdraw into yourself. There you will find peace." This retreat isn't a physical place. It's a mental state. It's learning to find calm amidst chaos. Everyday life gives us countless opportunities to cultivate that silence, but we often ignore them. What do you do when you're standing in line at the supermarket or waiting for a friend to show up for dinner? Most of the time, we fill those moments with more noise, scrolling through our phones, worrying about something, or distracting ourselves with anything we can find. But what if, instead, you used those moments to breathe, to close your eyes for a second, and simply observe your thoughts without judgment? Silence isn't emptiness. It's space to see things clearly. When obsessive thoughts invade, imagine them as leaves falling onto the surface of your mind's lake. You could try to pick up every leaf, disrupting the lake's peace, or you could simply watch them float away. That shift in perspective is what calms the mind and breaks the cycle of repetitive thinking. I want you to try something. The next time your mind feels overwhelmed, stop. Find a quiet spot, even if it's just for a few minutes, and focus on your breathing. Don't fight your thoughts. Let them come and go, like clouds drifting across the sky. The more you practice, the more you'll realize you don't have to react to every mental impulse. Calm isn't a gift someone gives you. It's something you cultivate within yourself. Now that you know how to find that space of tranquility, let me promise you something. What comes next won't just change how you handle obsessive thoughts, it'll change how you live each day. Because true calm isn't just about silencing the noise, it's about filling that silence with meaning. Lesson 14. What is your weak version? My friend, have you ever felt like someone is sabotaging you? But it's not an external enemy, it's you. Or rather, your weak version. That voice that always finds the perfect excuse, the one that tells you, better tomorrow. Now's not the right time. That's just the way I am. Imagine this, a packed stadium, roaring crowds, flashing lights, tension thick in the air. Welcome to the fight of the century. But this isn't just any match. This is the most important battle of your life. Because in this ring, there aren't two unknown fighters. Both of them are you. In the right corner, the version of you that you've always wanted to be. Standing tall, sharp gaze, steady breath. Strong, disciplined, relentless. He doesn't waste time, he doesn't negotiate with laziness, he doesn't let fear paralyze him. He's ready to win. But in the opposite corner, there stands his opponent, your weak version. You recognize him instantly. Slumped shoulders, uncertain eyes, shaky legs. He's not here to fight. He's here because he's used to winning without effort. Because every time you say, I'll start tomorrow. Every time you say, just a little longer. Every time you say, it's okay, I'll do it later. You've handed him the victory without him even having to throw a punch. Now tell me, who would you bet on? Before you answer, listen carefully. Because do you know what the real problem is? This fight has never been fair. Your weak version doesn't play by the rules. He doesn't face you with the truth. He uses cheap tricks. He whispers in your ear, lulls you into comfort, convinces you that giving up is fine because everyone does it. And the worst part? Without realizing it, you've been feeding him every single day. Think about it. How many times has this happened to you? Your alarm goes off in the morning, and you think, 5 more minutes. But those 5 minutes turn into 30. And by the time you finally get up, you have no time for anything. Your weak version won. Or maybe you planned to clean out your closet, but when the time came, you said, not today, I'm too tired. The result? Another day wasted. Another round lost to the wrong version of yourself. Seneca said it centuries ago. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. And he was right. Because your weak version doesn't just fear failure, it imagines it before it even happens. It makes you believe it's better not to try, that you might fail, that it's not worth the effort. But listen to me, that voice is a lie. It's a trap designed to keep you in the same place, and every day you keep listening to it, you keep losing. So, do you know what your weak version is? It's time to turn this fight around, and we'll do it together. Right now, grab a pen and paper, open a note on your phone, whatever works, and write down 3 things you do every day that feed your weak version. Don't overthink it. Be brutally honest with yourself. Is it procrastination? Lack of discipline? Maybe you're not disciplined with your body, your mind, your decisions. Maybe it's the people you spend time with. Whatever it is, put it into words. Because when you identify your enemy, you can start to destroy it. And now that you have the list, look at those habits carefully. Because they are the bars of the cage you've been trapped in. They are the blows that have knocked down your strongest self over and over again. Are you going to keep betting on the loser? Or are you going to step out of this ring as the fighter you truly are? The choice is yours. Lesson 15. Set goals and go after them. Have you ever felt like you're wandering aimlessly, as if you're stuck in a maze with no way out? Day after day, repeating the same routines, yet not knowing where you're headed. It's easy to feel lost in life when you don't have a clear goal, when there's no real reason to get out of bed with purpose every morning. Sound familiar? Then why keep letting life push you around instead of taking control? Setting goals isn't just a luxury, It's like having a map in unfamiliar territory. Without them, every step feels meaningless. With them, every move has purpose. Marcus Aurelius understood this. The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. But those thoughts shouldn't just be positive, they need direction. Goals not only give you a sense of purpose, but they're also a powerful antidote to the negative thoughts that creep in when you feel lost. Let me share a story. Pablo, someone I used to know, was stuck in a cycle of negativity. He lost his job, his partner left him, and over time, he started believing he was worthless. Every day was the same. He'd wake up late, sit in front of the TV, and let the hours slip away. Then one day, a friend asked him, if you could change one thing in your life right now, what would it be? Pablo didn't have an answer at first, but that question stuck with him. Eventually, he decided he wanted to pursue something he'd always been passionate about: graphic design. At first, it was a small step, but having that goal reignited his motivation. He made a plan, signed up for an online course, and slowly began to rebuild his confidence. Each new skill he learned felt like a step closer to his goal. The negative thoughts didn't vanish overnight, but they started losing their grip. Pablo stopped feeling like a ship adrift and began steering his life towards something meaningful. Do you see what he did? He didn't solve everything at once, but by setting a goal, he reclaimed his purpose. Having goals is like building a house. At first, you're staring at an empty lot and an idea in your mind. It's easy to feel overwhelmed thinking about all that's missing: the walls, the roof, the windows. But you don't have to do it all at once. You lay one brick at a time, patiently, and soon you'll see your efforts taking shape. Goals are just like that, a process of constructing something solid, step by step, until you have a place that feels like home. You don't have to start with massive goals. Start small, but start. Ask yourself, what do I want to achieve? What can I do today to take one step closer? It can be as simple as learning something new, dedicating time to yourself, or picking up a project you left behind. The size of the goal doesn't matter. What matters is the sense of purpose it brings to your life. When things get tough, and they will, don't lose sight of why you started. The Stoics called it prohairesis, the ability to choose your actions based on what truly matters, instead of being swept away by circumstances. When you have a clear goal, no matter how many obstacles you encounter, you'll always know where you're headed. Give your life meaning with a goal that excites you, and let that goal be the hammer that smashes the negativity holding you back. With every small step forward, you'll prove to yourself that the effort is worth it. So tell me, what's that goal you've been putting off for too long? Share it in the comments and stick around just a little longer, because there's a final surprise that will help you end negative thinking for good. Lesson 16. Stop wasting time. If today were your last day in this world, what would you do differently? Would you still be glued to your phone, watching other people's lives? Would you waste time on pointless arguments? Would you keep telling yourself that tomorrow is the day you'll finally start that project, work out, or change your life? Spoiler: no. Yet here you are, letting the days slip away as if they were infinite, as if there will always be a tomorrow to do what truly matters, as if time were a bank account that never runs out. Imagine an hourglass. Each grain of sand represents a day of your life. You don't know how many are left at the top. Maybe a lot, or maybe just a few. But one thing is certain: once they fall, there's no way to get them back. Now tell me, how many grains have you already wasted on things that don't lead you anywhere? On how many likes your photo got, on what your neighbor is doing, or whether those two people from the party are still together or broke up? Steve Jobs understood that time was the one thing he couldn't buy. Every morning he looked in the mirror and asked himself, if today were the last day of my life, would I do what I'm about to do? If the answer was no too many days in a row, he knew something had to change. And he changed it. He didn't wait, he didn't postpone, he didn't make excuses about why it wasn't the right time yet. He simply acted. Marcus Aurelius also understood that the key was to accept death, not as something negative, but as a compass forcing you to focus on what truly matters. His words say it all. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say. An emperor, the most powerful man of his time, reminding himself that his time was limited. Because it was, and because ours is too. Now think about yourself. You keep acting like you're going to live forever. You let the days pass as if you were guaranteed decades more. But tell me, how many of those days have truly been yours? How many have you spent doing what you really wanted, living how you really wanted? And how many have you given away to routine, to procrastination, to distractions? We fool ourselves into thinking we're busy, that we don't have time, that we can't do more. But in reality, it's a choice. Because listen to this, time isn't spent, it's invested. And if you feel like you're wasting it, here's a simple technique from the book. Help. What would you do if today were your last day? Each night before bed, ask yourself, did I use my time today for something that truly mattered? If the answer is no, change something tomorrow, even if it's small. You don't need to flip your entire life upside down overnight. Just take one step in the right direction. But here's the most important part. Don't postpone. Don't say, I'll do it tomorrow. Don't wait for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. The difference between those who accomplish something and those who don't isn't talent. It isn't luck. It's that the ones who succeed choose to act before they feel ready. They don't let life drag them along on autopilot. They ask themselves whether they're truly living or just existing, and they take action before it's too late. Remember this, the time you waste today is life you will never get back. If you don't realize that now, one day you might look back and ask yourself, what the hell did I spend my life on? Don't let it be too late. Make every grain of sand count. My friend, they say that the real battle isn't won in a single fight, but in consistency. That it doesn't matter how many times you defeat an enemy if you let them rise again the next day. And here we are, at the final step, the last test to kill once and for all the weak version of yourself that has tried to hold you back for so long. Are you ready to find out? 17th lesson. Stay strong no matter what. Life can feel like a game where everything seems stacked against you. The obstacles are the opposing team, the crowd is silent, and you feel like the scoreboard keeps dropping. In those moments, stress and negativity creep into your mind. I can't do this. It's over. Why bother? But here's the secret. Stop listening to those voices and focus on your next move. It doesn't matter how many times you stumble. What matters is that you don't quit the game. A powerful example of resilience is Helen Keller. Born without sight or hearing, she faced challenges most of us can't even imagine. Yet she refused to let her circumstances define her. With the help of her teacher and unshakable determination, Helen learned to communicate, write, and change the world's perception of disability. She once said, "Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all." Helen didn't wait for perfect circumstances. She chose to move forward, one step at a time, no matter how hard it was. Stop searching for excuses and start seeing every challenge as an opportunity. Marcus Aurelius said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." If every time something goes wrong you stop and let negativity win, you'll never move forward. But if you see challenges as training, as the weights you need to lift to build your strength, you'll realize that every obstacle is, in fact, a chance to grow. Picture your mind as a lighthouse in the middle of a storm. The wind and waves try to extinguish its light, but they can't. The light keeps shining, guiding the way. That light is your determination. As long as you stay focused, no storm can stop you. But if you let the waves distract you, you'll lose your way. Psychology supports this idea. Edith Grotberg, an expert on resilience, found that people who develop internal resources to face adversity, handle stress better, and build the mental strength to regain control during tough times. She explains that resilience comes from finding meaning in challenging experiences and using that insight to move forward. It's like reinforcing the foundation of your lighthouse. The stronger the base, the brighter the light. Stop waiting for things to get better on their own. Take control now. When things get tough, ask yourself this: what can I control right now? Don't focus on what's out of your hands. Focus on what is. Move forward, even if it's just one small step. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, not those who hold you back. And above all, keep your eyes on your values. They'll give you the strength to endure no matter what. Staying strong doesn't mean you won't waver. It means that even when you're shaken, you won't fall. It's deciding that nothing and no one can dim your light. So tell me, what are you going to do today to stay strong? Lesson number 18. Comfort is your worst enemy. Yes, comfort is your worst enemy. And that's exactly what happened to a bear in the northern mountains. They say that long ago, in a dense forest, there was a brown bear who had everything any other bear could dream of. He didn't need to hunt. He didn't need to put in any effort. Near his cave, a small village left food scraps every day: bread, meat, fruit, even honey. All he had to do was come down at dawn, and the feast was waiting. His life was easy. The other bears in the forest hunted, climbed trees, and traveled long distances to find food. Not him. He had everything served to him. Until one winter, disaster struck. A storm ravaged the village, and the people fled. The bear came down as usual, but for the first time in his life, he found nothing. He waited, dug through the snow, searched the ruined houses. Nothing. Hunger hit him like never before, and for the first time in years he had to hunt to survive. But what happened? He couldn't. His paws were clumsy, his speed pathetic. He spotted a hare and ran after it, but was exhausted within seconds. He tried climbing a tree to find fruit, but his own weight held him back. The forest that once belonged to him now rejected him. He had spent so much time in comfort that he had forgotten how to be a bear. His body couldn't handle it, but worse than that, his instincts were gone. Comfort had weakened him without him even realizing it. Listen carefully, my friend, because this isn't just a fable. It's the trap we all fall into. Psychologist Walter Riso explains that our minds are stubborn and lazy by nature. They don't like change. They avoid it. They prefer what's familiar, predictable, effortless. Why? Because stepping out of your comfort zone creates discomfort, and your brain is wired to run from anything it perceives as a threat, even something as simple as waking up early. And here's the interesting part. Your brain reacts as if you were in real danger. Alert! Don't do it. It's uncomfortable. Go back. Your internal alarms start blaring. Beep, beep, beep. That's why you resist doing anything that takes you out of your comfort zone. It's like sitting on an old, worn-out couch. You know it's falling apart. You sink into it every time you sit down, and it's terrible for your back. But you keep using it, because it's easier than going to the store, picking out a new one, and dealing with the hassle of replacing it. The Stoics understood something most people avoid. Discomfort is not a punishment. It's a tool to make you stronger. That's why they didn't run from effort or always seek the easy way out. On the contrary, they tested themselves on purpose. Seneca, for example, would sleep on the floor from time to time, even though he lived a comfortable life, just to remind himself that he could endure any hardship. But don't worry, I'm not asking you to do the same. I'm asking you to make small changes that will take you where you truly want to be. Because the only way to defeat your weak version is to expose yourself to difficulty, to face the cold, the effort, the resistance. Only then, when the moment of truth comes, will you be ready. Imagine this. You get home after a long, exhausting day. You know you should cook something healthy, but just thinking about it makes you groan. Your brain, trained in comfort, seeks the easy way out. You order a pizza, pour yourself a glass of wine, and relax in front of the screen. Instant relief. But how many more times, how much longer will you keep choosing what makes you weaker? Do you want to break that cycle and make discomfort your best ally? Believe me, my friend, I know it's not easy. But it's the only way to unleash your full potential. First, change the question in your mind. Every time you're about to take the easy way out, don't ask yourself, what do I feel like doing? Instead ask, what would make me stronger? If you're about to stay in bed instead of working out, if you're about to order takeout instead of cooking, If you're about to procrastinate on something important, stop and reframe the question. This tricks your brain and puts you in action mode instead of letting laziness take over. Second, challenge yourself with small acts of discomfort every day. You don't need to start with something extreme. Set simple but consistent challenges. For example, go for a walk in the rain instead of waiting for a sunny day. Or wash your face with cold water on a winter morning. Are these things small? Yes, but they train your mind to stop fearing discomfort and start seeing it as an ally. And now tell me, are you going to keep running from what makes you stronger? Or are you going to start rewriting your story today? Lesson 19. Eliminate stress. Stress is like that uninvited guest who shows up at your house, plops down on your favorite couch, and starts turning everything upside down. At first, you think you can handle it, but before you know it, it's taken over. Sound familiar? The worst part is that stress doesn't just affect how you feel, it messes with how you think. And here's the real issue. When stress is in charge, it becomes fertile ground for negative thoughts to thrive. Isn't it time to ask that guest to leave? I didn't always know how to handle stress. There was a time when every day felt like a race against the clock. Endless tasks, other people's expectations, and that constant voice in my head telling me, "You're not doing enough." It was like trying to carry a mountain on my shoulders. Until one day I just couldn't do it anymore. I stopped, sat in silence, and asked myself, why am I living like this? What's the point of all this if I'm completely drained, physically and mentally? The Stoics offer a powerful perspective on stress. Marcus Aurelius summed it up perfectly. Remember, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This means it's not the endless to-do list or the external demands that truly weigh you down. It's how you choose to face them. Stress isn't defeated by fighting it. It's managed by changing how you perceive it. Picture this. You're paddling against a strong current. Stress is like rowing upstream. You exhaust yourself, make no progress, and grow more frustrated. But if you shift your focus and flow with the current, you discover you can move forward without constant struggle. Managing stress is the same. It's not about avoiding challenges, but learning how to navigate through them. I get it. There's a lot to deal with. Kids who need your attention, work that never seems to end, a sick relative you're caring for, and even simple tasks like grocery shopping that feel like impossible mountains to climb. You wake up with a mental checklist, and before the day even starts, you're already drained. Stress doesn't just pile up in your body, it takes over your mind. And that's when negative thoughts sneak in. I can't handle this. Everything's going wrong. Nothing I do is ever enough. Stress becomes the perfect breeding ground for these harmful ideas to grow unchecked. The problem is that when you're overwhelmed, those thoughts become your only narrative. It's like having an internal loudspeaker that amplifies everything bad and drowns out any sense of calm. But here's the key. Stress doesn't have to define you. You can't eliminate it entirely, but you can stop it from fueling more negativity. If you let stress dominate, you open the door to mental chaos. But if you take control, you can shut that door before those negative thoughts even get in. When everything feels like too much, take a moment to pause. Ask yourself, what really matters today? You might not cross off everything on your list, but prioritizing what's essential gives you room to breathe. And here's another secret. You don't have to do it all alone. Asking for help isn't a sign of failure, it's a sign of strength. Delegating doesn't just lighten your load, it helps you see things more clearly. Think of stress like an overly tightened rope. If you don't loosen it, it will snap, and so will you. But if you decide to let go a little, the rope regains its shape, and everything falls back into place. Ending negative thinking starts by addressing the root that feeds it, and that root is often unchecked stress. So the next time you feel like you're at your limit, ask yourself, what can I leave for tomorrow? What can I let go of right now? And remember, taking care of your mind and your peace is always more important than any to-do list. Lesson 20. Set goals that motivate you. My friend, when you don't have a clear goal, your mind starts to wander, searching for something to focus on. And in that void, obsessive thoughts find their home. It's like being in a messy room. No matter how hard you try to concentrate, the chaos around you distracts you, draining your time and energy on things that don't matter. But when you organize that room, suddenly everything feels clearer and more manageable. Goals do the same for your mind. They bring order to the chaos and give you purpose. Imagine trying to fill a bucket with water using a hose that's spraying everywhere. What happens? You end up soaking everything except the bucket. But if you aim the hose directly, the bucket fills quickly and effortlessly. Your goals are that focus. When you decide where to direct your energy, everything else becomes less important, even those thoughts that consume you. When your mind is centered, it's much harder for it to wander off into imaginary catastrophes. The Stoics understood that having a clear purpose was essential to avoiding mental distractions. Marcus Aurelius put it simply: eliminate distractions. Focus your efforts on what truly matters. Your goals don't just give you direction, they also act as a shield against negativity and useless thoughts trying to invade your mind. Do you see the power in this? Purpose doesn't just give your life meaning. It helps you untangle the web of thoughts that's suffocating you. Let me ask you something. What's that one thing you've always wanted to do but keep putting off? Maybe it's learning a new language, developing a skill, or simply taking time for yourself. Spend 5 minutes on that project you're passionate about. Write a list of things you'd like to achieve this month, or give yourself permission to explore what truly excites you. Not only will you be steering your life in a better direction, but you'll also be learning to control your mind. And here's the most powerful part. Every small step you take toward a goal doesn't just bring you closer to achieving it. It trains your mind to focus on the positive. Obsessive thoughts lose their grip when you choose to direct your attention to something that truly matters to you. So tell me, are you going to keep scattering your energy on dramas that haven't even happened? Or will you focus it on what motivates you and fills your life with meaning? Today, you have the chance to organize that messy room in your mind and start moving toward what you truly desire. Doesn't it sound good to trade dark thoughts for accomplished goals? Go for it. Lesson 21. Fear is just an illusion. Picture this. You're in a dark room. You see a shadow in the corner, big, menacing, even slightly moving. Your heart starts racing. You thought you were alone. What is that hiding in the darkness, staring at you? Feeling your way, terrified, you finally manage to turn on the light and you realize it's nothing more than a jacket draped over a chair. That's fear. A shadow that looks enormous, but when you examine it closely, turns out to be far less threatening than you imagined. And here's the trick. That shadow only has power as long as you're too afraid to turn on the light. Now, answer this honestly. How many times has fear fueled your obsessive thoughts? How often have you been stuck in a cycle of, what if this happens, or I can't afford to fail? Fear paralyzes you. It makes you repeat those thoughts over and over, as if thinking about them more could somehow give you control. But here's the truth. Fear, most of the time, is nothing more than a creation of your mind. It's like a mirage in the desert. It seems real, but it's not. The Stoics understood this perfectly. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And he was right. Most of the things we fear never happen, and the few that do are usually far less catastrophic than we'd imagined. As long as you let fear guide your thoughts, you'll remain its prisoner. When fear stands in front of you, don't freeze, question it. Ask yourself, is this really a threat or is my mind exaggerating? What's the worst that could happen if I face this? Is it truly that bad? Think about it. How many times have you been afraid of something that never actually happened? And even worse, how much time have you wasted feeding those thoughts instead of facing them and realizing they were nothing? My friend, fear is like a small snowball. Imagine you're at the top of a mountain, and that snowball starts rolling downhill. Every second you let fear paralyze you, every obsessive thought makes it bigger and heavier until it feels unstoppable. But here's the key. If you stop and face it before it grows too large, you can break it apart with your own hands. Every small step you take toward what scares you shrinks its size until all that's left is a patch of melted snow. Fear is just an illusion, a shadow that vanishes the moment you decide to confront it. Now, I want you to dream for a moment. What would you do today if you weren't afraid? Tell me in the comments. What obsessive thought is keeping you stuck, holding you back from living in peace? This is your moment to face it and reclaim your peace. Share it as a symbol that you're ready to let it go. Lesson 22. Don't stay on the surface. Let me share something personal with you. A few years ago, I went through one of the toughest times in my life. I felt exhausted, irritable, and stuck in a loop of negative thoughts that seemed never-ending. Every day I'd tell myself, I'm just stressed, it's work and it'll pass. They were quick surface-level explanations that helped me push through, but deep down I knew something wasn't right. I was lying to myself because I was afraid to look deeper, to face what was really going on. For a while it worked, or at least it seemed to. I piled on excuses and convinced myself it was normal to feel that way. But the more I ignored what was truly happening, the heavier everything became. Until one day, I collapsed. I remember lying at home, staring at the ceiling, feeling like something inside me had broken. I realized I couldn't keep moving forward without facing what was going on in my mind. I couldn't stay on the surface any longer. That's when I asked for help. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but I did it. And you know what? Talking to someone was like opening a door I'd kept shut for far too long. I started digging into my thoughts and discovered that my endless obsession wasn't caused by what was happening around me. It came from something much deeper. The fear of not being enough, the pressure to meet expectations that weren't even mine, and the fear of failure. At first it was uncomfortable, even painful. But with every conversation, with every moment of reflection, I felt like I was peeling back layers, slowly getting to the root of the problem. The Stoics teach us that we can't solve what we're unwilling to confront. Marcus Aurelius said, "Dig deep within yourself. There's a wellspring of good, and it is always ready to flow if you keep digging." And he was absolutely right. Ignoring the root of the problem is like painting over a cracked wall. It may look fine on the surface, but sooner or later, those cracks will reappear. I want you to think about this. How many times have you given yourself quick explanations for your struggles? How many times have you said, "I'm fine," when you knew you weren't? Don't judge yourself for it. We've all done it. But let me ask you something more important. Are you ready to stop avoiding what's really holding you back? If you want to move forward, you need to go beyond easy answers. Start asking yourself deeper questions. Why do I feel this way? What's behind this thought? And most importantly, give yourself the time to find the answers. It's not a quick or comfortable process, but it's the only way to truly heal. Don't stay on the surface like I did for so long. Go deeper, because it's in the depths that you'll find the real solution. The one that lets you let go, grow, and finally break free. Are you ready to take that step? If I could do it, so can you. Lesson 23. Break free from your old self. My friend, let me ask you something, but I want you to be honest with your answers. Why do you keep checking your phone every 5 minutes when you know you have more important things to do? Why do you say you want to be disciplined, yet every time your alarm goes off, you hit snooze? Why do you keep complaining about your life while repeating the same habits that got you here in the first place? Let's be clear. You're still dragging around a version of yourself that's holding you back. You keep falling into the same weak habits. You keep allowing your past self to stay in control. And the worst part? Deep down, you know it. So if you keep carrying around the version of you that fails, how do you expect to succeed? Imagine yourself lost in the middle of the ocean. You've been drifting aimlessly for days. No land in sight. No idea where you are or where to go. The sun is burning, the water is running out, and desperation is taking over. But you keep making the same choices that got you lost in the first place. You keep letting the currents pull you wherever they want, trusting luck, hoping that somehow things will change on their own. Until one day, something inside you wakes up. You realize that if you keep following the same plan, you'll stay lost. So you take control of the helm, you study the sun and the stars, and you row with everything you have in a clear direction. And then, on the horizon, you finally see land. But here's the important part. When you reach the shore, you set fire to your boat. You destroy it. You burn it to ashes, because there is no going back. You can't return to the sea where you were lost. You won't allow yourself to go back to the version of you that didn't know what to do. And that, my friend, is the key. Breaking free from your old self. I know you want to change. You want to be more disciplined, more efficient, stronger. You want to stop wasting time, stop procrastinating, stop betraying yourself with cheap excuses. But that won't happen until you break away from the identity that's keeping you chained to those habits. So let's do something right now. Grab a piece of paper and write down everything that belongs to your old self. But don't just write it, draw it. It doesn't matter if you're not an artist. Make a doodle, a stick figure, whatever. But give form to that you that's been holding you back. What does it look like? Is it tired? Is it glued to a phone screen? Is it slumped on the couch watching TV saying, "I'll start tomorrow"? Give it a face, give it an attitude, and most importantly, make it ridiculous. Because it's time to see that weak version of yourself for what it really is, an obstacle in your way. Take a good look at it. There it is, your old self. Now write down everything that defines it. First, list the habits that are holding you back. Do you struggle to wake up early? Do you lose hours on social media without realizing it? Do you want to work out, but you always end up on the couch? Then write down your fears. Fear of failure. Fear of what others will say. Fear of putting in effort and not seeing results right away. And finally, write down every excuse you keep repeating in your head. I don't have time. I don't have energy. I'm not as good as other people. Write down everything you no longer want to be. Everything that's been holding you back. Everything you need to leave behind. Now, destroy it. Rip it to pieces, burn it, throw it in the trash, do whatever it takes. But eliminate it from your identity. Because the truth is this, your old self died today. And now, tell me, what will you do with the new one? Will you keep carrying the weight of who you used to be? Or will you finally start acting like the person you truly want to become? Lesson 24. Where do your obsessive thoughts come from? My friend, let's be clear from the start. Obsessive thoughts don't come out of nowhere. They're like echoes born from your fears, insecurities, or even past experiences you never fully processed. But this echo doesn't just linger. It bounces around every corner of your mind until it feels impossible to escape. So how can you break the cycle? Psychology gives us a clue. Obsessive thoughts are nothing more than your brain's failed attempts to solve problems. Yes, your mind wants to protect you, but it's going about it all wrong. It's like trying to put out a fire by pouring gasoline on it. These thoughts feed on repetition, on the attention you keep giving them over and over again. You might think that analyzing them endlessly will lead to a solution, but you're wrong. The mind doesn't work like that. The more you analyze them, the stronger they grow. Here's the key. You can weaken them. How? By stopping. By observing them without reacting, without trying to fix them. When you do this, the thought loses its power. It's like flipping a switch that once seemed stuck. The Stoics understood this long before modern psychology existed. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Eliminate the opinion and the complaint will disappear." Wow, what a powerful insight, right? The emperor teaches us that it's not what happens that obsesses you. It's what you decide to believe about it. Think about this. Does it really matter what someone said or what might happen tomorrow? Or are you just trapped in an illusion created by your own mind? Epictetus summed it up perfectly. We are not disturbed by what happens, but by our thoughts about what happens. In other words, the thought itself isn't the problem. The problem is the importance you give it. What makes it so overwhelming is all the time and attention you dedicate to it, replaying it again and again. Now listen carefully. Every time your mind spins in endless circles like a roulette wheel, I want you to do this. Stop. Stop reacting automatically. Take a deep breath. The simple act of stopping breaks the cycle. Then observe it with perspective. Ask yourself, is this true or is it just my interpretation? Be honest with yourself and shift your focus. Instead of endlessly turning the same thought over, redirect your energy towards something tangible, something real that's happening right now, something that disconnects you from the mental noise holding you captive. I want you to understand this. Your obsessive thoughts are not bigger than you. They don't control you, you control them. It's like standing in the middle of a storm. You can either stay there watching it swirl around you or walk toward shelter. Today, I want you to choose to walk. Step out of that loop and reclaim control over your mind and your life. Because, as Marcus Aurelius said, you can free yourself whenever you choose. Lesson number 25. Protect yourself from other people's negativity. Let me ask you something. If you found a rotten piece of fruit, would you leave it next to the others and let them all spoil? Of course not. So why do you keep allowing other people's negativity to pollute your mind? You know you do it. We all do. We let those around us unload everything they're carrying onto us, filling our space with that toxic energy. At first it seems like no big deal, but over time, it starts to invade your mental space. It changes how you think, how you act, and worst of all, how you feel. Negativity is like having a loud radio blaring all day. Even if you're not actively paying attention, the noise is still there. It seeps into your thoughts and shifts your mood. Think about it. Those complaint-filled conversations, that one person who always sees the worst in everything, or the endless stream of alarming news designed to keep you on edge. How many times have you felt drained after a conversation, or after hours in front of the TV? The Stoics understood this problem all too well. Seneca said, "Surround yourself with people who can make you better, and also strive to improve those around you." This doesn't mean you should isolate yourself from the world, but you should be mindful of who you allow into your mental space. Imagine building a wall, not to block everything out, but to let in only what enriches and strengthens your life. Do you feel like negativity surrounds you like a heavy cloud? Pause for a moment and ask yourself, where is it coming from? Maybe it's that person who always has something bad to say, turning every conversation into an endless list of problems. Or perhaps it's your habit of spending hours on social media. Whatever it is, stop and reflect. Is this helping me or draining me? The answer will give you the clarity you need to take back control of your mind. And listen, you don't need drastic changes or to cut everyone out to protect yourself. Sometimes small adjustments are enough. If a conversation starts filling up with complaints, steer it towards something more positive. If you notice social media is making you uneasy, close the app and go for a walk. Breathe in some fresh air. A chat with someone inspiring, a book that fills you with new ideas, or even a moment of silence alone can make all the difference. Marcus Aurelius summed it up best. The soul is dyed by the color of its thoughts. So tell me, what colors are you letting stain your mind? What would happen if you became more conscious of what you allow into your life? My friend, this isn't selfish, it's self-care. And by doing it, you'll build the strength you need to live peacefully, mastering your mind and your thoughts. Remember, your mind is the ship, and your thoughts are the rudder steering it to safe harbors. Lesson 26. Kill that voice that torments you. My friend, let's be clear from the start. That little voice telling you that you can't, that you always fail, that you'll never be enough, it's not your friend. It's like a mental parasite, an old radio that never stops playing static. But listen closely. You have the power to turn it off. That voice only has as much control as you give it. So, why are you still letting it dictate your life? Imagine you're climbing a mountain and you've got a companion who never stops criticizing you. You're not going to make it. It's too hard. Who do you think you are to even try? Be honest. How long would you put up with that? 5 minutes? Impossible, right? You'd probably end up shouting, "Enough! I can't take this anymore." So why do you tolerate that same voice living inside your head day after day? That voice is just a part of you, fed by your fears, insecurities, and the limiting beliefs you've accumulated over time. But here's the truth. You are not that voice. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Eliminate the opinion, and the suffering will disappear." That voice tormenting you isn't reality, it's just an interpretation. It's not an impartial judge, it's an inner critic that distorts everything you do. But you can challenge it. You can listen to it and say, "Thanks for your opinion, but I don't need you." Psychologist Carl Rogers said, "The curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change." Do you know what that means? That little voice feeds on your attempts at perfection, on your constant self-judgment. But when you give yourself permission to be human, to make mistakes and learn from them, that voice loses its power, because accepting yourself doesn't mean settling, it means creating space for growth. Now, how can you turn off that voice that won't leave you alone? You're probably thinking it must be incredibly hard. It's been in your head your whole life after all. Let me tell you how I do it. First, give it a name. Yes, name that voice. Call it the critic, the pessimist, or even something silly like the chatterbox. Naming it helps you distance yourself from it. That voice isn't you. It's just useless noise you can ignore. Next, challenge it. Every time it says something negative, respond with questions. Is this true? Where's the proof? Most of the time, it won't have any answers. Finally, replace it. For every negative thought, create a positive and realistic one. If the voice says, "I can't," respond with, "I'm learning." If it says, "I always fail," counter with, "I'm improving every day." I want you to burn this into your mind. That little voice tormenting you does not define who you are. You have the power to silence it and turn that noise into strength. Today is the day to tell it, "Your game is over. I'm in charge here. Are you ready to take control?" Then do it now, my friend. This is your moment. Lesson 27. You are not what you think. Have you ever felt like your mind is relentless, constantly passing judgment on you? As if your thoughts are merciless judges, punishing you over and over. You're not enough. You always fail. You'll never change. These thoughts, though they feel like your own, don't define you. They're just background noise, like a song stuck on repeat that you never asked to hear. But here's a truth you need to embrace. You are not what you think. Your thoughts don't represent reality. They represent moments of weakness, fears you haven't yet mastered. And that changes today. Marcus Aurelius reminded us in Meditations that the life of a man is what his thoughts make of it. This doesn't mean your thoughts are absolute truth, but rather that how you choose to deal with them makes all the difference. You are not the inner critic that points out every flaw. You are the person who has the power to decide how to respond to that voice. Imagine a theater. Some actors are the stars, others are supporting roles, and many are just extras in the background of each scene. If one of those extras tried to steal the spotlight and ruin the performance, what do you think would happen? Would the director let them derail the entire show? Of course not. They'd be sent back to their place because they're not meant to take center stage. My friend, your mind is that theater, and your thoughts are the actors. You are the director, and it's up to you to assign each role. Now, where do you think obsessive thoughts belong? Exactly. They're minor roles. It's fine if they make a brief appearance, but they shouldn't control the entire performance. Say it loud and clear. You are the director, not a passive audience member. Let's bring this to everyday life. Picture this. You're driving, and someone cuts you off. Instantly, your mind jumps to, "What an idiot." But if you stop and think for a moment, maybe that driver was in a rush for reasons you'll never know. Obsessive thoughts work the same way. They seem real, but more often than not, they're just rushed interpretations of your mind. Modern psychology teaches us something crucial. Your thoughts are not facts. They're interpretations. They only hold as much power as you give them. Cognitive therapy, for example, encourages you to challenge these thoughts. Is this true? Is there another way to see this? By doing this simple exercise, you start to dismantle the grip those thoughts have on you. When negative ideas keep looping in your mind, don't fight them, but don't welcome them like special guests either. See them for what they are, visitors passing through, not permanent residents. Ask yourself, does this thought really define what's happening, or is it just noise I'm paying too much attention to? Each time you choose to stop the obsession, you reclaim power over your life. Because you are not what your mind says on a bad day. You are what you choose to do with it. And today, you can choose to tell yourself something new, something empowering. I am bigger than this thought. So tell me, my friend, are you going to let your thoughts run your life? Or are you going to take the reins? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you and help you unload that mental burden. Lesson 28. The war never ends. Imagine a warrior on the battlefield. He has fought with courage, endured exhaustion, and overcome obstacles. But at the end of the day, when he thinks it's all over, he looks around and realizes the hardest truth of all. The war never stops. Because every sunrise brings a new enemy, a new challenge, a new temptation to give up. And now tell me, what did you think? That by changing a few habits, by making better decisions for a while, you were done? Well, think again. The war against your weak version isn't a one-day battle. It's a war that must be fought every single day, because every morning that fragile version of yourself will try to take back control. It will try to convince you that skipping discipline for a day won't hurt, that you can ease up, that you've done enough. And that's where most people fall. Not because they didn't change, but because they never made that change permanent. Now, it's not just about avoiding a relapse. It's about making sure this process is sustainable. Because listen carefully, changing for a month or two is not enough. If you don't turn this into a lifestyle, everything you've done up to this point will be worthless. Psychology explains this well. Our brain hates drastic change, and when it feels something isn't sustainable, it pushes us back to what's familiar. That's why so many people start strong but eventually lose their way, because they focused on making a huge effort instead of building a system they could actually maintain. So now you know, don't aim for perfection, aim for consistency. Marcus Aurelius summed it up in a single sentence. Behind everything you do, let there be one intention, to do it as someone strong and worthy. For him, this wasn't just a philosophy. It was a way of life. He knew that greatness isn't a place you reach and stay forever. It's a choice you make every single day. Now, how do you make this sustainable? First, make sure this change is real. Remember what we talked about before, because it's crucial. Don't tell yourself you're trying to improve. You are someone who improves. Don't think you want to be strong. You are strong. Your identity shouldn't rely on what you achieved yesterday. It should be reinforced by what you choose today. Second, have a clear strategy for the moments when your weak version tries to return. Those days will come. You cannot rely on motivation, nor can you expect to always feel like doing the right thing. What actually works is structuring your life in a way that your best version doesn't depend on your mood in the moment. Third, understand that change won't always be exciting. Many times it won't be. So what can you do in those moments? Reinvent yourself. Every now and then, you need to level up. Like a warrior who refuses to let his sword rust, you cannot stick to the same routine forever. What does this mean? That every time you start feeling comfortable, challenge yourself again. Find something that forces you to grow. Shift your focus, set a new challenge, test yourself in something new. So here we are, my friend. You've reached the end of this path, but in reality, this isn't an end. It's a starting point. Now tell me, are you going to let your weak version rise again? Or are you going to make sure that every day is another proof that you've defeated it for good? Lesson 29. Cut it out at the root when necessary. Picture a garden you want to keep vibrant and full of life. One day weeds start to appear. At first, they don't seem like a problem. They're small, easy to ignore. You don't pay attention and let them grow. Weeks later, you realize they've taken over, choking everything you worked so hard to cultivate. The same thing happens with negative thoughts. They creep into your mind unnoticed, and if you don't stand firm, they take up all your mental space. Like weeds, if you don't pull them out at the root, they'll spread and eventually consume you. So why keep letting them stay? Seneca once said, "A wise man is content with his soul, and therefore doesn't need the approval of others. When you tolerate what harms you, you're not caring for your soul. You're letting others or your own thoughts take control. Marcus Aurelius warned us too. It is ridiculous to try to escape your own vices, which is possible, while trying to escape the vices of others, which is impossible. This isn't just about others. It's about what you allow to linger in your life, including within your own mind. Let me share something personal. For years, I carried things I didn't need. I'd say I was fine, but deep down, I knew something was off. I stayed silent to avoid conflict, tolerated attitudes that hurt me, and worst of all, justified thoughts that weakened me. I told myself things like, "It's my fault. It's better to say nothing," or "Maybe I'm overreacting." But one day, after a particularly bitter argument with a friend who always made me feel small, I stopped. I sat in silence and asked myself, why do I keep allowing this? How much longer am I going to carry something that doesn't belong to me? It was like everything finally clicked. I wasn't protecting my peace. I was sacrificing it, letting negativity take over. Think about this. Allowing harmful things to stay in your life, whether it's a person, a situation, or a thought, is like keeping a rotten fruit in your basket. Sooner or later, it starts to spoil everything else. Cutting things out at the root isn't easy, but it's the only way to protect what truly matters. When I decided to cut out what was hurting me, it wasn't simple. Stepping away from certain people and confronting my own thoughts forced me to question a lot of things, but every time I said no to something that didn't serve me, it felt like I was dropping another stone from the backpack I had been carrying for so long. Bit by bit, I started feeling lighter, freer. How can you start cutting out what doesn't serve you? First, identify what truly drains you. Those relationships, thoughts, or situations that, when you're honest with yourself, only cause harm. Next, decide what boundaries you need to set. You don't have to be drastic, but you do need to be clear. Finally, stick to your decisions. You don't have to justify yourself or convince anyone. This is your life, and you have the right to take care of it. Remember, cutting things out at the root isn't selfish, it's self-love. It's like pruning a tree. Removing a branch might hurt, but it's the only way to let it grow stronger. I want you to reflect. What do you need to cut out at the root in your life? Be honest with yourself, and if you want to share, I'll be reading your comments. Lesson 30. You are not what you think. Tell me if this sounds familiar. I'm not enough. I always fail. I'll never change. These thoughts creep in uninvited, but let me tell you something. You are not what you think. Those negative whispers you accidentally gift yourself are nothing but noise, like a neighbor shouting from their window about how you should live your life. You can hear them, but that doesn't mean they're right or that you have to listen. Epictetus put it perfectly. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you stop identifying with your negative thoughts, you strip them of their power. It's not the neighbor's comment or a stranger's glance that affects you. It's how you choose to interpret it. You can keep dwelling on it or decide it's not worth your energy. The same goes for your thoughts, my friend. Just because they come from your own mind doesn't make them the absolute truth. Think of someone like Nelson Mandela. He spent 27 years in prison, yet when he was released, he didn't let hate or thoughts of revenge define him. He famously said, "I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul." Mandela could have let negativity consume him. Nobody would have blamed him. After all, he was unjustly imprisoned. But do you know what he did? He chose the opposite. He chose to kill negative thinking and nurture the kind of thoughts that would help him move forward. So what about you? When your mind betrays you, do you give it power, or do you decide who's in charge? Your negative thoughts are like that relative who always has something bad to say. You always mess up. You'll never succeed. If you go along with them, you'll end up believing those words. But if you ignore them, they gradually lose their strength. Mastering negative thinking doesn't mean eliminating it forever. It means refusing to let it control you. It's a visitor, not the owner of your house. Carol Dweck discovered something critical. People with a fixed mindset identify with their thoughts and believe their mistakes define who they are. On the other hand, those with a growth mindset see negative thoughts as challenges to overcome. By reframing them, they learn, grow, and build their self-esteem instead of crumbling under the weight of their doubts. So how can you put this into practice? When negativity invades your mind, pause and observe it. Ask yourself, is this true, or is my mind exaggerating? If a thought says, I can't, respond with, I'm learning. Every time you do this, you're silencing that voice trying to hold you back. Don't let your thoughts dictate your life. You are not what you think. You are what you choose to do with those thoughts. Each time you ignore that little voice trying to drag you down, you're declaring, here I am and I'm in charge. Remember this, you are not the noise in your mind. You are the person who can silence it. Lesson 31. Talk to yourself like a Stoic. Let me tell you about my friend Javier. From the outside, Javier seemed like he had it all together. A good job, friends, family. But one day he opened up to me. He confessed that he was fighting a constant battle in his mind. Every time he made a mistake, he'd tell himself things like, I'm so useless, I'll never get it right. Or, why even try if I always fail? Believe me, his words were like a hammer he used to crush his own self-esteem over and over. And the worst part? He didn't even realize he was doing it. Sound familiar? Because if you're honest with yourself, maybe you've spoken to yourself like that too. Let's face it, no one talks to you more than you do, and the words you say to yourself have a far greater impact than any external criticism. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." Think about it. If your inner dialogue is filled with negativity, it's like walking around with shoes full of stones. On the outside, you might look fine, but every step gets heavier and more painful. The problem isn't out there, it's within. The good news? You can fix it from within too. Psychologist Carl Jung delved into how our words and thoughts form part of our shadow, the unconscious side of ourselves we often ignore. According to Jung, what we repress or deny in our internal dialogue doesn't disappear. Instead, it grows and takes control of our emotions from the shadows. He said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." What does this mean? Every time you speak negatively to yourself, you're not just reinforcing your fears. You're turning them into automatic patterns that control your decisions. Scary, right? Let's go back to Javier. One day I asked him, if a friend of yours made a mistake, what would you say to them? He went silent. So I said, now ask yourself this. Why do you speak to yourself in a way you'd never use with someone you care about? That question changed everything for him. Little by little, he started questioning how he spoke to himself and replaced harsh words with kinder ones. It wasn't easy or immediate, but each small step helped him heal the invisible wounds he had been inflicting on himself. The Stoics practiced something similar. Instead of drowning in destructive self-criticism, they turned their thoughts into tools for learning. Seneca summed it up perfectly. To err is human, but to persist in error is diabolical. What does this mean for you? It means it's okay to make mistakes, but it's not okay to punish yourself for them endlessly. Let it go. Forgive yourself. You're human, my friend, not perfect. Your inner dialogue is like a compass. If that compass is thrown off by negative thoughts, it will always lead you in the wrong direction. But when you recalibrate it with words of encouragement, it starts pointing you toward the right path. That doesn't mean there won't be bumps along the way, but it does mean you'll have a clearer guide to keep moving forward. If you want to start talking to yourself like a Stoic, pay attention to what runs through your mind when you face a challenge. Pause and notice the exact words you're using. Write them down and look at them from an outside perspective. Ask yourself if those words are helping you or dragging you down. Then, for goodness sake, give yourself a break and be kinder to yourself. For example, instead of thinking, "I never get it right," say, "I'm learning something new, and that takes time." Spend a few minutes each night reflecting on your inner dialogue. What can you improve tomorrow? You're not going to become perfect or stop making mistakes, but trust me, when you start speaking to yourself with the same wisdom and compassion the Stoics practiced, something shifts. Your mind stops being a battlefield and becomes a place where you can find clarity and strength. And remember, if you're not on your own side, who will be? Lesson 32. Find the root of... Let's get serious from the start. Think about that unanswered message, that glance you interpreted as disrespect, or that tiny mistake you just can't forgive yourself for. Be honest with yourself. Those little mental storms that seem uncontrollable don't appear out of nowhere. It all starts with a seed you've let grow, a negative thought that's consuming you. But here's an important question. Isn't it time to pull it out by the roots? Let's dig into the source. The Stoics knew something we often forget. Our emotions and reactions are the echoes of our thoughts. Epictetus put it plainly. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Pay attention to this. It's not your boss's criticism, your friend's comment, or that stranger's look that throws you off balance. It's your interpretation of it. Negativity doesn't come from the outside. It's created in your mind, like a small cloud that quickly covers your entire sky. Picture this. You're carrying an invisible backpack. Each time you feed a negative thought, you add a stone to it. At first, you don't feel it. You're strong. You can carry it for miles. But over time, that load becomes unbearable. Too many stones in your anxiety-filled backpack. The first step to lightening it is to open it up and examine what's inside. This is a key Stoic exercise. Question your thoughts. In his Meditations, Marcus Aurelius teaches us to ask, is this under my control? If it's not, why does it affect me? This kind of reflection not only weakens negative thoughts, but strips them of their power over you. It's like pulling stones out of your backpack, with each one being a thought you let go of. Let's be clear. Identifying the root of your thoughts isn't something you do overnight. The Stoics didn't sit around waiting for enlightenment. They practiced daily introspection, like gardeners inspecting every corner of their minds for weeds. Seneca reminds us, the greatest obstacle to living is expectation, which depends on tomorrow and wastes today. What does this mean? Your negative thoughts are rooted in unrealistic expectations, anticipated fears, or memories you can't let go of. Recognizing this is liberating. It allows you to focus on what truly matters, the present. According to a study by psychologist Martin Seligman, the founder of positive psychology, people who can reinterpret events in a realistic way experience less anxiety and greater emotional well-being. In other words, when you change how you understand an event, you change how it affects you. It sounds simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Now, let's bring this back to you. How can you apply this in your daily life? Write your negative thoughts down on paper. If you do it for something as trivial as a shopping list, why not for something as important as your peace of mind? Then ask yourself, is this true? Is there another way to see it? Finally, all the drama your mind has invented has to go. Replace those negative thoughts with more realistic and constructive ones. For example, if you think, I'm not good enough, replace it with, I'm learning and improving every day. Tie each thought to an action, no matter how small. That's the key. Remember, getting rid of negativity isn't a passive process. It's a constant practice of observation and action. But here's the good news. The more you do it, the lighter you'll feel. Take control of your thoughts. It's a daily effort, yes, but it's worth it. Lesson number 33. Live one day as your best self. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. How would your day look if you woke up with the mindset of someone unstoppable? If you were disciplined, confident, and focused? If every decision you made aligned with your best self? What would you do differently? Today, you are not you. At least not the version of yourself that has been putting off your potential. Today, you are going to live as the person you've always wanted to be. So let's play a game. You are the main character in a movie. But not just any movie, it's like The Truman Show, but with one major difference. This time, You control the story. Picture this. From the moment you wake up, cameras are recording your every move. Millions of people are watching how you live this day. How do you want them to see you? You get up without hesitation, without hitting snooze. You take a cold shower because you are in control. You eat breakfast without distractions, without your phone in your hand. You dress with intention because today you are not someone who hides. You are someone who leads. You walk out the door with a different energy, standing tall, confident with every step. You arrive at work, and instead of heading straight to your desk with your head down, you walk in with presence. You greet people with certainty, make eye contact. You are not someone who blends into the background. You are someone who leaves an impact. And when it's time to make decisions, you don't hesitate. If a problem arises, instead of complaining or waiting for someone else to fix it, you take the initiative. You propose a solution. You speak with confidence. Today, you are not the version of yourself that avoids challenges. You are the version that faces them head-on. But this transformation isn't just at work. Today, you don't let anyone walk over you. If someone speaks to you disrespectfully, you don't lower your head like before. You set boundaries. If you used to stay quiet to avoid discomfort, today, you speak your mind with certainty. And in your personal life, things change too. Today, you decide to surprise your partner with a spontaneous date, not because it's a special occasion, but because you are someone who values their relationships, someone who doesn't let routine dull them. You get home, and instead of mindlessly scrolling through social media, you train. And you don't train like someone who is trying to be disciplined. You train like someone who is disciplined. You push harder, challenge yourself more, because you are no longer the version that quits at the first sign of discomfort. And at the end of the day, you realize something. You didn't need motivation. You didn't need a miracle. You only needed to act like your best self. Look at Matthew McConaughey. Early in his career, no one took him seriously as an actor. Everyone saw him as the rom-com guy. But instead of accepting that identity, he decided to rewrite the story. He said, "No, I am a serious actor." For a while, he turned down roles, endured rejection, and waited for his moment. He acted like the actor he wanted to be before the world saw him that way, and eventually, he made it happen. So be like him. Fake it until you unleash your full potential. Because here's the big question. If you can do it for one day, what's stopping you from doing it every day? Epictetus put it simply, don't wait to become better. Start acting like someone better. You don't need to wait months to transform, you just need to prove it right now. Lesson 34. Don't think, just do it. You'll probably relate to this. You want to do something, but instead of doing it, you start overthinking. Well, I'll do it later, but first, let me check my email. Maybe tomorrow would be a better day to start. I'm going to get everything organized first, make a detailed plan, and then I'll really do it. And just like that, you're stuck, trapped in the overthinking loop, like a hamster running on a wheel, going in circles but never moving forward. You analyze every possibility, convince yourself that you'll do it soon, but time keeps passing, and you're still in the same place. Do you know the difference between those who achieve things and those who don't? No, it's not talent. It's not luck. It's not intelligence either. The difference is that some people take action, while others just keep thinking about it. So now, tell me, my friend, which team are you on? If you tend to procrastinate, let me tell you something. This isn't just about willpower. There's actual science behind it. The longer you think about doing something, the harder it becomes to start. It's as if your brain builds a wall that gets higher and higher. A study published in the Journal of Psychology and Education found that procrastination is closely linked to anxiety and stress. The more you postpone something, the more anxious you feel, and that anxiety makes you delay it even further. It's a vicious cycle. That's exactly what happens to someone in my family. Every time you ask him for a favor or remind him of something he needs to do, he always says, "I'll do it in 5 minutes one of these days." Then he starts explaining his whole plan, how he'll do it, the steps he'll follow. He spends days, sometimes weeks, just thinking about it. but he never does it. The task becomes heavier and harder in his mind, and in the end, when he finally decides to do it, he realizes that, surprise, it really did only take 5 minutes. See the problem? He spent more time thinking about doing it than actually doing it. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, put it simply: do what nature requires of you. Don't get distracted by anything else. Our nature is to act, not to get trapped in an endless loop of thoughts and excuses. So how do you break this cycle? Here's a practical tip. Use the 3-second rule. When you hesitate to do something, count to 3 and take action before your brain comes up with an excuse. 1, 2, 3, go. No time to overthink, no space for doubt. Believe me, procrastination is the silent killer of your dreams. Every time you delay something, you're feeding your weak version, the part of you that seeks comfort, fears failure, and prefers the easy way out. But that's not who you are. Inside you, there's a strong version. Decisive, action-oriented, unstoppable. Don't think, just do it. Your future self will thank you. Lesson 35. Master the only thing you can control. Imagine you're in your car, stuck in an endless traffic jam. The minutes pass, frustration builds, and you feel anger taking over. Sound familiar? Now ask yourself, can you control the traffic? Spoiler, no. But you can control how you react to it. Let's be honest. Life is full of situations beyond our control. But how do you respond? Do you focus on what you can't change or on how you react to it? That is the key to killing your weak version. Think about the incredible example of the people of Dominica. In 2017, Hurricane Maria struck the island with overwhelming force. Homes destroyed, streets flooded, an entire nation plunged into darkness. Everything they knew was reduced to rubble. What would you do if you lost everything in a single day? They could have remained paralyzed, dwelling on their misfortune, waiting for outside help. But they didn't. Instead of giving up, they decided to take action. Under the leadership of people like Francine Barron, they not only rebuilt what was lost, but they made it stronger. Every new structure, every decision had a purpose: to become the first climate-resilient nation. They couldn't stop the hurricane, they couldn't prevent the destruction, but they could control their response, and that changed everything. Don't you think you could do the same in your own life? But don't worry, you don't need to survive a hurricane to apply this mindset. Do you know in what small, everyday situations you can use it? Let's take a look. First, the classic drama of unexpected rain. You leave the house dressed in your best outfit, feeling unstoppable, and then, boom, a downpour soaks you from head to toe. What are your options? Get angry and spend the day complaining about your bad luck. Or kill that weak version of yourself, laugh it off, accept it, and turn it into another great story to tell. Second, the classic case of a ruined meal. You spend hours cooking, follow the recipe to the letter, and when you take out the final dish, it looks like a failed science experiment. Are you going to get frustrated and curse your cooking skills? No, because you're going to improvise with what you have and save the meal. That's how you unleash your inner chef. Third, the famous big night out that gets canceled. You've been looking forward to going out with friends for days, but one by one they cancel, and you end up home alone. You could get bitter and curse the universe, but that would be weak. Instead, you'll take advantage of the moment to do something you never have time for. Marcus Aurelius said it best: you have power over your mind, not external events. Realize this, and you will find strength. It's not about what happens to you. It's about how you choose to interpret it and act accordingly. Believe me, worrying about what you can't control is like being in a sinking boat and wasting all your energy screaming that the water shouldn't be coming in. While you complain, the boat keeps sinking. But if you stop feeling sorry for yourself and start bailing out the water, you'll realize that the storm doesn't matter. What matters is how you choose to respond to it. Remember, it's not what happens to you. It's how you respond that defines your path. It's time to kill that weak version of yourself that drowns in anxiety over what's out of your control. Unleash your potential by focusing on what you can manage: your thoughts, your actions, your attitude. So the time has come. Take control of your mind and free yourself from the obsessive thoughts that are holding you back. Calming the storm within is an act of courage and self-love. Every time you choose to let go of what no longer serves you, you create space for the peace and clarity you truly deserve. If you've made it this far, write in the comments, "I am the captain of my mind." Let's claim this together. The fact that you've made it to the end says a lot about your commitment to yourself. And that's what builds real strength, day by day. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And if you know someone who needs this message, share it with them. Click the videos on screen and let's keep walking this path together.